Hai, nama saya Arif dan hari ini kita akan bercakap mengenai kamera di hadapan saya ini iaitu Canon 5D Classic ataupun Canon 5D Mark I. Alright, so kamera ni adalah kamera yang lama jugalah. I think like 2000 something. Nanti I share lah kat mana-mana dalam gambar ni apa nama bila kamera ni release. Quite sometimes jugalah. Kamera ni boleh kata macam one of the first Canon full frame digital camera yang orang kata design for the masses. Maksudnya macam ada kamera Canon yang ada double grip tu, so quite bulky juga. So this one is yang apa, that typical DSLR punya design lah. Alright, so kamera ni dia ada all the basics of what camera should be. For example, kamera for sure kena ada control apa, shutter speed, aperture, ISO dan juga white balance lah kalau perlu. But dia tak boleh nak record video, dia just it's a camera to shoot photo je. And dia macam like at the time teknologi dia taklah advance macam sekarang, jadi dia features dia quite limited. But for me, I'm not looking to get the best of the best. Kalau yang tu sesuai untuk as a workhorse camera lah. Yang this one adalah lebih kepada pleasure. Maksudnya macam I want to go out for a shoot and this camera inspires me to take a photo. Alright, so good enough for what it is. Dan apa nama, all the button is where it should be. So belah kiri ni adalah menu, info, button jump. I think like masa kita nak tengok display lah, ada gallery punya button, ada delete, ada on off button, apa nama, scroll, bukan scroll wheel, rotary dial lah kot, rotary dial, ada joystick untuk control dia punya apa, autofocus. Belah sini pun ada juga macam kita nak autofocus on the center point, nak move the apa nama autofocus around, ataupun nak suruh kamera ni decide autofocus tu patut kat mana. Viewfinder missing the eyepiece, but whatever. Atas ni ada mode dial dan tak ada lah benda-benda yang pelik-pelik. Just ada yang the basics yang I wanted adalah manual mode, aperture priority, shutter speed priority, program and fully auto. But usually I use like AV or TV lah. So kamera ni ada, good enough. Ports yang belah kiri ni I never use, so tak ambil kisah. Bawah ada apa, tripod socket as it should be. Bateri dia adalah bateri yang dah apa nama, dah discontinued, so it's a bit hard to find. Kalau jumpa, belilah. Nak kata dia punya bateri ni tahan lama pun depends, but for me usually I standby beberapa bateri lah, sebab macam bateri lama mungkin capacity dia limited. Okay, dekat atas dia ada that window, so let me buka jap. Okay, so kita boleh nampak dia, kita boleh control apa, the information for the shutter speed, aperture, apa benda, file type, RAW ke JPEG ke, for apa, metering mode dia macam mana, single shot ke, burst ke, timer ke, white balance on the left side. Kalau kita ada memory card, berapa banyak gambar kita boleh shoot on the top right side. Kalau autofocus pula ada jenis one shot. Sekejap let me check. Kalau ni one shot, AI focus dengan AI servo. Tapi itulah kalau I guna pun macam like guna one shot je, whatever lah. So white balance pun I think ada beberapa auto white balance, daylight, shade, cloudy, all the basics lah. But usually I just, kalau I nak guna daylight je, sebab I akan shoot raw dan akan edit. So white balance doesn't matter enough for me. So kalau kita nak use the camera, kalau lens kita tu, I think certain lens ada aperture dial tu, but usually untuk Canon punya lenses, all the aperture is setting kita set dekat kamera. So mungkin I can use the dial belakang ni untuk control aperture, dan kanan ni untuk control shutter speed. Let's say lah I'm on a manual mode, so lens ni adalah widest aperture dia f2.8. So f2.8 I can change to f5.6, 8, 9, 10, whatever lah. So let's say lah f2.8. Shutter speed is there, good enough, and metering is accurate enough lah for what it is. Sebab I usually shoot either normally exposed ataupun under sikit. So it's there. And then kalau I guna aperture mode, so I boleh itulah decide nak shoot everything in sharp ke, nak shoot bokeh ke. So it depends. And yeah, we're talking about the the memory punya bahagian. Dia menggunakan CF punya card, which is a big chunky card. So I don't have that, ataupun benda tu, I mean boleh je cari, like boleh dapat murah, but then I need to purchase card reader lah, apa benda lah. So I think it's better for me to get a CF adapter, then I can just put SD card there. So at least SD card reader ada banyak, dan juga kalau certain komputer atau laptop pun ada SD card reader. So it's much easier in the long term lah. Alright, so I think like the exterior of the camera as is. Oh, pasal dia punya screen pula. Screen dia ni screen yang lama. Jadi color accuracy dia boleh dipertikaikan lah. Jadi I would say I just use it untuk just nak occasional checking for blow highlight ke, crush shadow ke, ataupun I can look at the histogram. So it's fine for what it is. I don't use it as much. Usually I just turn off display lah. Just macam like focus on the shooting lah. Macam tak gambar, kalau rasa nak tengok gambar tu, tengok masa dah kat rumah ke, time editing ke. So dia the purpose of this camera adalah untuk go out, shoot, and that's that. The viewing the camera itself, viewing the photo itself tu kemudian a separate process. So the purpose of this camera adalah macam it's sort of like it still have the convenience of a digital camera, tapi ada that limitation of kalau kita shoot menggunakan filem kan, macam kita shoot filem lepas shoot tak boleh tengok gambar, lepas tu kita kena habiskan frame tu, balik hantar ke lab untuk develop, then kita boleh dapat the actual photo lah. Jadi to have that in a digital format, so I would say benda tu quite interesting to explore. I wouldn't say that I wanted this camera to be a workhorse, but for what it is, it can be. Ada limitation, but for me I just use it untuk a casual photo shoot lah. Alright, so kita nampak ada dua lens kat sini. Usually I use camera ni either with a 50mm, but surprisingly Canon dia ada satu lens yang interesting enough, which is this Canon 40mm f2.8, and it is a pancake lens, which is senang cerita dia lens yang nipis lah. So kalau from the top down view you can see dia macam like almost the same size as the grip. So macam quite compact lah for what it is. So 40mm it's a bit lens focal length yang I don't prefer enough. Tapi kalau compare to 35mm to 50mm, 40mm tu tengah-tengah. So mungkin I can find a way to make it work. F2.8 usually lah, secara jujurnya I would say I would prefer to shoot at f1.4, f1.8 sebab nak bokeh kan, macam yalah gambar cantik kalau ada bokeh kot. So bila lens ni ada f2.8, dia jadi macam like challenges to me lah, macam like okay nak tak nak I kena shoot f2.8. So macam okay lah I accept the challenge. I try to shoot it at f2.8 and we'll see how it goes. Mungkin not necessarily akan shoot at f2.8 pun, maybe akan shoot at f8 ke f16 ke, who knows. Tengoklah what I can explore with this camera and this lens, as well as adanya this lens, which is Canon 50mm f1.8. So this one is the updated version for the EF lineup. Sebab for the long time Canon punya 50mm ni kan ada yang version yang first dia release tu, yang adalah dia punya hardware punya limitation. Then dia switch to yang plastic build tu. Dia orang kata sebagai Nifty 50 / the plastic fantastic lens. So lens tu pun best juga sebab dia ada all the mechanical parts, tapi dia prone to barai lah basically, sebab macam dia plastic build, kalau you jatuhkan, so mudah untuk rosak. So having that uncertainty tu macam like tak apa kot, next time lah. So when I went out to get this Canon 50mm f1.8, surprisingly enough, it's a good updated version for the 50mm. It's a good updated version untuk the 50mm punya lens line up. And what else I want to say about it? Okay, dual lens ni adalah modern iteration of the lens line up for the Canon. So dia menggunakan, tak silap, the STM. So the STM is the stepping motor. Basically, dia bukannya that mechanical / manual punya focusing system dia. Dia STM ni macam electronical assist. Macam mana cakap dia macam kalau sekarang ni kita pulas, dia macam like dia rasa loose. So kalau kita manual focus pun dia tak, macam mana, STM lenses ni sesuai untuk videography lah, sebab macam Canon ni diciptakan untuk fotografi first, but somehow di zaman moden ni kamera kena shoot video juga, so kenalah cipta lens yang mudah untuk shoot video. So kalau dia guna lens yang versi lama, macam like dia punya focus hunting tak tu tu, so orang kata focus hunting dia quite annoying jugalah. So bila dia develop STM punya version, so benda ni assist in a modern camera. Contoh kalau kita take a look at a modern Canon DSLR, for example, tak kisahlah, I think like 6D Mark II, or even the crop sensor like 70D, 80D, 90D and whatever D Canon punya line up. Bila dia nak shoot video tu, it's much more acceptable, dia punya focusing speed dia. Alright, compare to kalau kita guna lens yang focusing more on the stills punya photography. Alright, so that's it about my first impression pasal dual lens ni, as well as this beefy Canon 5D Classic. Might be something interesting sebab some people mengatakan yang 5D Classic ni dia ada tone dia. So something yang I wanted to explore more. Mungkin sebab before this, kalau I shoot a photo using a digital camera, shoot raw, I akan guna preset lah. So preset tu mimic film look. But since orang kata 5D Classic ni dia ada that film look tu juga, so maybe I try to tak guna preset, I shoot as is menggunakan raw format, dan I try to minimally edit it. Contoh macam adjust exposure ke apa benda ke, just macam something yang minimal, just to see how film look does the 5D Classic is. So I think it's something that I'm interesting to explore. Alright, jadi sekian sahaja untuk video kali ini. I hope you learn something new today. Boleh like, share and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Alright, see you guys in the next one. Bye.